Hello my lovies and welcome to the Spirit Tarot and Healing Arts channel. If you are new, welcome back. If you are a returning viewer, I'm Rin and I've kind of got a little bit of a series or a theme going on here. Started back with my 7 decks for Deadly Sins video and it just kind of has evolved from there. Then I did a flip through video of the Food Fortunes tarot deck, which you see here. And now I'm going to tell you how I turned the Food Fortunes deck into a readable deck. So if this is the first video of these that you're stumbling across, make sure to check out those other 2 videos. And after this one, I will be doing a video that shows off all of my food themed decks. But I wanted to do this video because this deck was not intended to actually be read with I don't want to be a broken record, so if you've watched the other videos, you know this, but if this is your first introduction to this, the creator of this deck intended it just as a novelty deck, like a gag, a goof. Maybe you jokingly play a game where you choose what you're going to eat from the cards in the deck. It was not meant to actually be a deck used in readings. I know it looks like it has a little white book because this insert comes with the deck, but it actually doesn't give you any meanings. It does, however, tell you what foods are on each of the cards, and there are a couple of cards in here that I was like, I'm not sure what that is, so I had to look. So if you're not sure what any of the foods are, it will tell you. But I honestly enjoy reading with this deck. I find it sort of scary accurate. It really amazes me and blows me away how accurate a deck that was not actually intended to be used for readings can be. But I bought this deck on a whim. I thought it would be fun and cute, and once I got it and realized that it actually wasn't meant to be read, I was kind of like, well, I still want to read with it anyhow, and I'm pretty sure I can make it work. So basically all I did was figure out a way to equate it back to the Rider-Waite-Smith. Now, I consider this deck, this is not a deck that I would recommend for any beginning tarot reader, for any novice. You really need to know your cards and the tarot system, in my opinion, in my experience, in order to be able to make this into a working, readable deck for you. You've got to have some good tarot knowledge coming at this. So what I did was, some of this was pretty common sense in equating things back to the Rider-Waite-Smith. And that's what I figured, no matter what the artwork is, I could assign the Rider-Waite-Smith meanings to the cards, which is what I did. And then I could read by those meanings. And if I feel so called, as I'm looking at a card, maybe the artwork or the meal on it ties in somehow for me personally. So I may make that personal connection. But base process here is just equating this back to the Rider-Waite-Smith. Now again, I don't really recommend this for beginners. So if you're watching this and you're not a beginner, you already know the Rider-Waite-Smith meanings, so you don't need to go look them up. But if you are a beginner or you're not really secure in those meanings yet, and you still want to try this deck, then you can very easily find for free on Google the meanings for all of the standard Rider-Waite-Smith 78 cards. You can easily find that list for free on the internet. So if you need it, you can look that up. But honestly, I recommend if you're going to try to play with this deck that you kind of already have the meanings memorized. You kind of already know how tarot works, what you associate with each card, because that's very helpful in working with this deck. So some stuff, like I said, was very common sense. These cards here with this symbol at the top are the majors. So they're numbered 0 through 21, just like the majors in a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And all you do is just equate them directly to the Rider-Waite-Smith. So 0 here, the beginning, is the Fool. But the thing is, because they have very different names, right, you're going to have to know which number is which card in the majors. So we know that this is the Fool, this is the Magician, the High Priestess, the Empress, the Emperor, the Hierophant, the Lovers, the Chariot. So here I do want to make this note. I go by the Rider-Waite-Smith where 8 is strength and 11 is justice. But if you remember your tarot history, that wasn't the case until the Rider-Waite-Smith. It was Arthur Waite who, because he was assigning certain astrological correspondences to the majors, that he changed up justice and strength to fit what he was doing with astrology in the majors. So for me, I read this as strength and 11 as justice, but if you like to read 8 as justice and 11 as strength, you can do that. There is that flexibility. Just know which way that you normally associate that. Most people, this is strength. But some people, and I do have some decks where it's a Rider-Waite-Smith deck, but they have flip-flopped and gone back to pre-weight, and they have 8 as justice instead of strength. So just something to be aware of. Just decide how you want to read and then go from there. But all you're doing is whatever that number is for you in the Rider-Waite-Smith or whatever system you're using, you just equate that back to those majors. All right, so that's pretty straightforward. Really didn't have to think a whole lot about that. Just the majors are what we would normally think of as the majors. But the 4 suits in here do not necessarily all have a direct correlation. For me, it was really easy, right? The drinks, the suit of drinks would be cups, because cups are what you drink drinks out of. So for me, that really didn't take a whole lot of thought. And then for me, sweets, I associate them with the pentacles, the suit of pentacles, because to me, sweets, in order to be able to afford sweets, you've got to have wealth, money, abundance, right? Sweets are a luxury. And so for me, it just made sense then that the suit of sweets would be the pentacle. So those two were really easy. Then I had to decide between the suit of mains and the suit of sides, which one was swords and which one was wands. So this is the way I decided. Now, this is just how I do it. You can take it as inspiration. If the way I correspond the suits back to the Rider-Waite-Smith doesn't work for you, that is perfectly okay. You can do your own thing. There's no rule here. There's no right and wrong here. So for me, the mains are swords and the sides are wands. That's how I do it when I, really spend some time looking at the cards in each suit. That was just what worked for me personally. All right, so let's go over this again. And I will put a slide at the very end of this video that shows you what I corresponded with what. Now, in the little booklet that comes with this deck, he refers to what I call the majors as the trumps. Now, if you've been doing tarot for a long time, if you've studied the history of tarot, you know that there was a point in time where the majors were referred to as the trumps. I don't hear that term used very often in the tarot community anymore. It seems like after, once we got into the 2000s, people started just calling them the majors. But he refers to them as the trumps in the book. So if you're looking for what food is on the card, you'll look at the trumps. But most of us today call this the majors, right? So this double red square up here is on the top of each of these cards. These are the majors, and they correspond to the majors in the Rider-Waite-Smith. Then we have the suit of mains with this symbol at the top, and I correspond those with the suit of swords. The sides, I correspond with the suit of wands, and the drinks, I correspond with the suit of cups. Sweets, I correspond with the suit of pentacles. And then I bring over all of my meanings for that. So the mains for me then correspond to the suit of air. Sides correspond to, or not to the suit of air, but the element of air. Sides correspond to the element of fire. drinks corresponds to the element of water, and sweets corresponds to the element of earth. So any correspondence that I would use with that suit normally, I just paint onto these. So for like matters of timing, I would use my normal matters of timing for me. Any cards that have an astrological or zodiac correspondence for me, I will keep that. So, the devil normally is Capricorn for me out of the majors. So, let's find the devil. Okay, so the devil in here is basically McDonald's French fries, forever golden, right? That's the devil. So if I was trying to identify a person, or maybe timing, if I'm using the zodiac signs for determining a timing in a reading, this would be the sign of Capricorn for me. So anything that I would normally associate with a card in the Rider-Waite-Smith, I'm going to keep that association in this deck. So like I said, if I correspond a certain time of year, for me, swords are spring. I know not everybody has that correspondence. I've seen different one lately, but when I started doing that, I had a deck that the way it corresponded the seasons, I just resonated with that, and so I kept that, even though I know other people, it seems more common now to use a different set of associations, but those are the ones that I learned, those are the ones I like. So for me, swords would be spring, wands are summer, cups are autumn, and pentacles are winter. Now that's just how I do it. You don't have to do it the same way. If you have a different correspondence, that is perfectly fine. But whatever you would normally correspond with a suit, you're going to correspond that with the corresponding suit in here. So again, the way I do it, you've got your majors here, then you've got your swords, your wands, your cups, and your pentacles. And then once you do that, once you say this card is this, so the ace of sweets is the ace of pentacles. If you got the six of drinks, well, that's the six of cups. If you got the king of mains, well, that's the king of swords. So that is just how I do it. Once you have that correspondence down, then you can just go ahead and read with this deck. Like I said, you do have to know what number is what card in the majors, because these have completely different titles than we're used to, and they are not something that you are going to be able to draw a linear line between what's on the card in this deck and what the normal major is for a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. But it's just a matter of corresponding. And again, this is what works for me. If you feel like something else needs moved around, maybe you want to switch what suit you associate with mains and sides, that's perfectly okay. Do what works for you. Like I said, I will put a slide at the end of this video that shows you what I correspond with what, just so that for those of you who are more visual or like to see it written out, you'll have that at the end of the video. But this is what I do, and then I just read as I normally would, because I've established what card equates to what in the normal quote unquote tarot, and then I just go from there. I just run with it. And like I said, as I'm reading and interpreting, I go with my standard meanings for all of these cards. But if I feel like if a food item on the card like makes some sort of connection or sparks some sort of insight in me, I'll roll with that. If something that is in the card resonates with me, then I might go with that too. I mean, we've got this little spoon here. Maybe that spoon will speak to me during a reading. For some reason, you'll notice that the creator had a real thing for the infinity symbol. So it's on the beginning, it's on the ace of mains, it's on the ace of drinks, it's on the ace of sweets too. I don't see, nope, yep, there it is. It's in the bowl on the ace of sides. You will see that throughout. So generally speaking, unless it like jumps out and hits me in the face, I ignore the infinity symbols all through the deck because they're on just about every card. It seems like it's not, but it seems like it. So, just take what, maybe the water in one of these cards speaks to you. Maybe the sun um, is what you think of when you think of the sunny side up egg, and you've got the sun in the background, morning, a new dawn, a new beginning. Whatever works for you, whatever speaks to you as you're doing this. Just take the base meanings from the Rider-Waite-Smith, assign them to these cards, and then let your imagination and inspiration and intuition go from there. So it's really not that complicated. It's very easy just to stamp on the standard meanings and then go from there. So I hope you found this helpful and interesting. Let me know if you have this deck and if you already read with it, if you're going to try reading with it. Maybe you've been so inspired that you're going to run out and buy it and try reading with it. But let me know all of that in the comments down below, because I love to hear from you all. Please give the video a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it. Please subscribe to the channel, because that helps out so much. You guys just have no idea how much that helps. I love each and every one of you. And until I see you in the next video, blessings to you wherever your journey finds you.